This woman was Anna, a legend in the world of snipers. If she aimed her rifle at someone, that person was as good as visiting the Grim Reaper. A distance of 3,000 meters seemed to be nothing to her. Hitting the target was all that mattered. With just one shot, her bullet would pierce the bullseye on her scope, then the enemy, and then embed itself right into the sniper themselves. Thanks to skills like that, her reputation as a master sniper continued to grow. Crime bosses often sought her out to hand over lucrative jobs. This time, Anna was assigned a mission of national importance because the target she needed to aim at was a drug kingpin. This guy was both fat and talkative, and every word he uttered showed an arrogant attitude. He didn't fear heaven or earth, confidently asserting, "No one can touch me." Before long, that very overbearing attitude made him regret it, but it was too late. Stepping out with his henchmen, he was still cocky, as if to say, "I'm the king of the world." But in the distance, Anna was already lying there, patiently waiting for the opportunity, just waiting for her prey to appear to pull the trigger. With one shot, she caused a container to fall from high above, ending the drug lord's life. Not long after, the police arrested Anna. Because of this, she had to live in prison for 25 years. Because she had killed someone and had some connection to the court, she was transferred to a mental institution instead of a prison. While being interrogated by the doctor, Anna tried to appear perfectly lucid. With her keen sense, she discovered that the interrogator was a bounty hunter. In a flash, she quickly took him out. Soon after, a group of men in suits grabbed Anna, intending to escort her into the prison. Although her hands were cuffed, her talent for improvisation didn't diminish, not even a little. All of it was to serve the purpose of taking Anna back to get the bounty. While the assassins inside the hospital were facing difficulties coming from Anna and the doctors, the sniper outside was also aiming straight at the target, shooting. No matter what, they just had to capture her. But it wasn't for no reason that Anna was given the title of master. After all, she wasn't just anyone. So, sending her on her way to meet the Grim Reaper wasn't easy. To take her life, at least you had to be on par with the most elite assassin. After an earth-shattering battle, the individuals who suffered the most were the doctors working in the hospital. The opponent's people also died a lot, but Anna remained steadfast in the face of every storm. Seeing the number of casualties on their side growing, their hearts ached. But just thinking about the supermassive bounty they would receive after killing Anna, they couldn't allow themselves to stop. At the moment the two were fiercely engaged in battle, Anna's gun suddenly ran out of ammunition. In this desperate situation, she suddenly saw the only doctor still alive holding a gun. Without thinking, she ran over, signaling for him to hand over his weapon. In a life-or-death situation, the doctor had no choice but to hand over the gun to Anna. After all, death was waiting for him in front of him anyway. Since he wasn't able to shoot down the woman in the distance, he should try placing his faith in the woman standing right in front of him. After picking up the gun, Anna immediately identified the sniper hiding in the distance as her target. In just a second, Anna was able to pinpoint the bullseye of her mortal enemy. The moment she fired her shot was also the moment her opponent was preparing to meet their maker. A distant thud signaled that her career as an assassin had also come to an end. Who would have thought that a master like her would fall at the feet of a quack? But when she woke up from her daze, Anna saw that both of them were in the hands of a group of strangers. She was tied tightly to a bed, and the doctor could only stare blankly. After some back and forth, Anna learned that the man standing in front of her was Atai. While untying Anna, he repeatedly expressed his hope that she would join his organization as an assassin. While talking, Atai told her the whole situation. On the surface, Anna pretended that she was still trying to resist, but in her heart, she had already planned to betray him. However, all of her plans had been foreseen by Atai. Currently, she is wanted by the police internationally, across multiple nations. Not only that, but thugs are scouring every corner to find her whereabouts. With countless large and small forces threatening her life probably won't be easy. Atai was willing to give Anna a new life, as long as she agreed to this deal. Hearing the plan, which was also beneficial to her, Anna finally nodded in agreement. However, she wanted to take the doctor with her for entertainment. Thinking it was reasonable enough, Atai agreed to her condition. In a daze, the doctor became her plaything. You're pretty but not at all lovely. Before they knew it, Atai's private plane had taken the two to the territory of Libya. Just arriving, Atai's men dropped both of them there, leaving them to fend for their lives. Who would have thought that the place they landed was experiencing a civil war with extremely tense developments? Needless to say, the surrounding scene was chaotic. Her soul hadn't even returned to her body, and Anna was already using the doctor as a human gun mount for her machine guns. And just like that, Anna was using his arms to fire 2 machine guns. But this wasn't their territory, so all 3 of them were quickly cornered by the 2 princes of Libya. In that situation, to save their lives, they could only raise the white flag in surrender. Before long, they had been captured by the two princes, who prepared to have them executed on the spot. Right at that moment, with her sharp eyes, Anna saw a sniper in the distance. And so, an idea flashed in her mind, and Anna quickly came up with a plan. As soon as she finished speaking, a bullet flew right into the center of them. Seizing that opportunity, all three quickly escaped before being captured again. When they ran down to the basement, they discovered a group of children hiding there. Even though she was an assassin, Anna had her own rules. She would never harm children. Entering inside, she saw that there seemed to be another child hiding under a blanket. But when Anna pulled the blanket back, it was a blonde female assassin. She immediately attacked and quickly subdued Anna. The blonde female assassin signaled to her men to escort only Anna away, not caring about Atai and the doctor. After Anna was escorted away, Atai took the doctor to a safe house. There, they worked tirelessly to find a way to rescue Anna. Atai knew she was being held by the secretary in his private base, so the two of them attacked the secretary's personal doctor. Thanks to this, they successfully got past the guards outside. On this side, since being brought back, Anna had been hung upside down from the ceiling by the blonde assassin. After she left, Anna used her beauty to seduce the guards there. Sure enough, even heroes couldn't resist the allure of beauty, let alone these ordinary soldiers. Atai and the doctor finally got inside the secretary's house. To find Anna, they went to the control room, attacked the soldier there, and then used the screens of the security cameras to find where they were holding Anna. Unexpectedly, they found her disguised as a servant in the house. But Anna's actions were too unpredictable, so even though the two combined their efforts seamlessly, they still couldn't find Anna's fixed location. At this time, she had arrived in the backyard of the secretary's house and came across a boy playing outside. Anna didn't hesitate to approach him to gather information. But before they had spoken for long, another servant called her away to prepare the banquet for the secretary. At this time, she realized that the boy had one leg chained to a long chain. He recognized that Anna wasn't from there but didn't expose her. Because of this, Anna felt like she owed him a life. During the secretary's party, when his guests spoke to each other and had the intention of offending their host, the blonde assassin jumped right onto the table and berated those who were there. While she was channeling her anger into these people on behalf of her boss, she suddenly discovered that one of the servants was none other than Anna, the person she had just captured. Without wasting any time, the two immediately lunged at each other in a one-on-one showdown. They fought until their dresses were torn and their clothes were ripped, but they still couldn't determine a winner. Not long after, her people arrived in greater numbers. When Anna ran out into the hallway, she ran into Atai and the doctor, so all three of them quickly ran inside a warehouse. It turned out that the secretary had turned his house into a sausage-making base. All three of them guessed that his men would arrive soon after, so they used a few necessary things right there in the warehouse to concoct a homemade bomb, using its chemical reaction to advance their plan. Not long after they left, the blonde assassin appeared with her men. Right at that moment, their bomb exploded successfully, roasting quite a few of them. Thanks to this, they escaped safely. On this side, the secretary was meeting with a man named General Sabin. He had hired this general to prepare for the upcoming coronation of the prince. The general's mission was to ensure security for the entire upcoming coronation ceremony. Back to Anna, along with her two companions, who were also her only friends. After escaping from the secretary's house, Atai took them to another safe room. Because both of them were injured, the doctor got to put his professional skills to good use. Meanwhile, the news was broadcasting an earth-shattering news report. The two princes of the country had now died after an armed conflict. Hearing that news, Anna was as happy as a rich man with a good harvest because she thought that her mission was now complete. But Atai gave her bad news. The king didn't only have two princes, he had three. There was still one who hadn't appeared. But where he was, it was very likely that the third prince was being held captive by evildoers, and they would take advantage of this person to achieve their goals, which was to turn this place into a kingdom like the Golden Triangle. As expected, the coronation ceremony will take place tomorrow in the square. At that time, they would know who the third prince was that everyone was talking about. To prepare for this, Atai took Anna to a building opposite the palace. Because within a radius of 3,000 meters, he couldn't find a location where she could take action. So in this situation, only Anna could do it. With her supreme sniping skills, Anna would assassinate the prince from a position over 3,000 meters away. That night, as the coronation ceremony was taking place, Atai signaled Anna to prepare to take action. She would have 3 shots corresponding to 3 fireworks being launched. Anna was ready to act, but when she looked into the scope, she discovered that the third prince was the boy she had met in the secretary's house. It turned out that the secretary had captured and held him captive to turn him into a puppet king to serve his schemes. So, Anna was forced to act before this new king signed the treaty. But the third prince was just a child, and her rule in the profession was to never harm children. Not only that, but she also owed him a favor that she hadn't repaid yet. So, to end this, instead of shooting the boy, Anna shot the chain that the secretary had used to chain him up. Atai knew that she had done it on purpose, but now everyone knew that the third prince had just been assassinated, so she couldn't take action again. When Atai tried to activate the nanobomb to punish Anna, someone unexpectedly shot the device out of his hand. At this time, Anna had also jumped down. To make it easier to fight, the two sides have now transitioned to confronting and fighting each other right on the banquet table. Seeing this, Atai ran down the stairs, but he was blocked by the police. They thought that he was the one who assassinated the king, so they tried their best to chase after him. Up here, Anna met the doctor again, but she also realized that someone was trying to assassinate her from a very far distance. So, she played tit for tat, and that person was none other than General Luo Jie, hired by the secretary. Seeing this person's shooting style was very similar to her former lover's, Anna couldn't help but be a little stunned, but then she quickly shook it off because her old lover had passed away a few years ago. After Atai left and the mission had failed miserably, Anna knew that the bomb in her body couldn't be disarmed by anyone. She immediately grabbed the doctor to threaten him and force him to find a way to disable the bomb. So, in the end, he came up with a unique method to have Anna sit in a pool of water and then run a high-voltage current through it. This method could cause the device in her body to overload, leading to damage, thereby disabling the nanobomb inside her body. But this method could kill someone if they couldn't withstand the current. Sure enough, when the current went through, Anna couldn't withstand it and lost consciousness. Taking this opportunity, the doctor packed his things, preparing to flee far away. But as he left, he was compelled by his professional conscience to save her. After performing CPR and preparing to give artificial respiration, Anna woke up. But unexpectedly, right at this moment, a strange man appeared. This man surprised Anna so much that she froze for several seconds. It turned out that he was her former captain and also her former lover. Previously, when they worked together in the special forces, they had been assigned an extremely brutal mission. Anna had been given the path to survival by the captain, and he had died. At that time, Anna had witnessed the whole event, and in the years since, she had always thought that he was no longer alive. Yet, unexpectedly, today they met again in this situation. To unleash her anger on her ex-boyfriend, Anna didn't hesitate to attack him. She thought he was too cruel to have stayed silent for so many years, even though he was alive. The two returned to how they used to be, training together, striking at the opponent together. After a few rounds of fighting, forgiving her old lover, Anna let go of his mistakes. As their relationship was about to be rekindled, the doctor suddenly rushed in, acting as a third wheel. He said that there were now many enemies outside, preparing to attack, so they needed to leave before disaster struck. But the captain said that those were all his people, so there was nothing to worry about. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the three of them were attacked relentlessly. It turned out that the attacker was the blonde assassin, along with her men. The captain told Anna that he also worked for the secretary because he had hired him to protect the third prince during his coronation ceremony. It turned out that after escaping from the police, Atai had found a way to approach the third prince and kidnapped him. When Anna learned this, she immediately got on a motorcycle with the doctor and sped off. The two followed the prince's tracks and found his tracks. He was now being held captive in Atai's car. Unable to allow a young boy to be in danger, Anna immediately turned around to face backward. Then, she used her ultimate sniper skills, aiming straight at Atai's car and attacking. Even though the road was extremely bumpy, with their relentless efforts, Anna finally rescued the third prince. Atai's car flipped upside down in the air and then crashed to the ground, crushed like a piece of scrap metal. When Anna approached to check if Atai was still alive, she found nothing. When she turned around, Atai had appeared with the third prince. Atai told her that he honestly didn't want to harm a young boy, but he was doing it all to protect the people and the country. Even though that was a fairly convincing reason, Anna found it problematic. She thought that his ideals were not wrong, but if serving those ideals meant making children shed blood, then that ideal was just garbage. Anna's short words awakened Atai. At this time, the third prince also said that even if he killed him, they would find every way to achieve their goals. Once again, Atai understood, thanks to the words of the third prince. So he came up with a plan, and this plan could uproot their scheme completely. After much deliberation, they decided to cooperate once again. Only this time, the members of this underground organization were growing in number every day. To prepare for his plan as successfully as possible, Anna went to meet her captain to find more information, as well as more people to help. But at this time, standing before the woman he loved, the captain confessed everything to her. It turned out that years ago, after escaping the ambush led by the drug lord, he had returned to kill him and then took his head with him. The captain thought that just working for someone would never make him rich, so he came up with a plan to choose a different path. Thanks to that deed, the captain had won over all the people under his command. From that day on, he became the biggest buckwheat boss in the region. After that, he continued to collude with the secretary to force the third prince to sign a decree legalizing the production of buckwheat honey in his country. If that succeeded, then both would reap an extremely large benefit. But just as things were about to succeed, the secretary turned against him and had his men capture him. He locked him in a room and intended to kill him to enjoy the profits alone. But he didn't expect that the female assassin he trusted the most was his person. So his plan was killed before he could carry it out. After the secretary died, only he remained. Finally, the captain removed the fake mask that he had been wearing all along. This time, without beating around the bush, he declared directly to Anna that he would use all the military power in his hand to force the third prince to sign the decree allowing cultivation and animal husbandry throughout the territory. He wanted to turn this country into a giant money-printing machine, and he was the only one in charge of operations. The more she heard him speak, the more Anna froze like a tree, just waiting to collapse. The person who had gone through life and death with her, who had shielded her from bullets, was now coldly calculating on the backs of children and the fate of an entire nation. She couldn't believe that the person who used to be her ideal could now fall into such a pit of sin. She screamed in despair, trying to salvage the last bit of conscience remaining in him, but it was all in vain. His face was ice cold, his eyes full of ambition, a soulless gaze. Perhaps money had eroded all reason in his being. Anna took a step back, her hands trembling as she raised her gun, aiming it straight at the chest of the man who had once been a hero in her eyes. At this moment, she no longer recognized who he was. That was no longer the comrade from the past, but a wild beast, and she would not allow it to take another step toward her. Then, despite not wanting it, the worst happened. Just as the captain had said, he finally acted. He had his men capture the third prince's closest servant and used him as a hostage to create pressure. The boy, who was still too young to bear the burden of political scheming, was forced to sign the decree allowing the planting and production of honey in his territory. The coronation ceremony took place in the dazzling lights, under hundreds of pairs of media eyes. Everyone thought the fate of this nation had been sealed. But at the very moment of glory that seemed to belong to the evil, the unexpected happened. Before hundreds of cameras, amidst the flashes of lights and the shouts of the press, the third prince tore up the decree. The scraps of paper flew everywhere like fragments of a dark plot that had just been torn down. A gunshot rang out, signaling that a fierce battle was about to begin. A stranger in black managed to take the third prince away from the scene, but what they didn't realize was that they had all fallen right into the trap that Anna and her comrades had painstakingly set. The man in black was, in fact, none other than the doctor who had been thought to be on the sidelines of the war. Dozens of stun grenades were activated one after another, blinding and deafening the captain's soldiers, leaving them disoriented. As all eyes were focused on the fake chase, the real third prince was secretly taken away from the scene through an entirely unexpected escape route. Before long, the third prince and the group of escorts were put into cars and driven away from the dangerous area. The chase continued all the way to an abandoned construction site, a place with only rocks, machinery, and rough materials, but it became a fierce battlefield for both sides. The captain's men mobilized all their firepower, not just guns and infantry, but also tanks, engines roaring as if to crush everything. Gun smoke filled the space, bullets drawing streaks of red fire in the sky. Just when it seemed everything was about to end in a sea of fire, a shocking explosion caused the entire battlefield to freeze. One of the tanks had been pierced and destroyed with a single shot, and the person behind that shot was none other than Anna. She had used a large-caliber sniper rifle, a weapon that existed only in legends, to make a shot that would go down in history. However, just as that tank was shot down, another tank immediately moved forward to replace it. This scene made the whole group's hearts pound, and silence fell over the space. However, Anna had exhausted all her strength for that first shot. Her shoulder socket was completely dislocated after the strong recoil. Seeing this, the doctor immediately threw everything away to run to her side. No one would have thought that the doctor, who was only familiar with needles, would now become Anna's silent right-hand man. As soon as he detected Anna's position, the captain immediately ordered the tank to turn its cannon and aim it directly at her and the doctor. She pulled the doctor out of the firing position, and both slid down along the rusty iron track of the abandoned factory. It was thanks to the stray bullet that they had managed to save their lives. Just when everyone thought it was the end, their lucky charm suddenly appeared. Atai rushed in like the wind, stepping onto a high mound with ice-cold eyes behind the scope. She fired continuously, taking down the enemy soldiers one after another in the blink of an eye. Thanks to this, Atai and the others were finally able to escape the encirclement of death. That night, the surviving group was still trapped in the abandoned factory. Outside, the captain's tanks roared, searching everywhere. After all this, Anna only had one armor-piercing bullet left. In a desperate situation, she climbed on top of the doctor to get a shooting angle to shoot down the tank. Finally, a single shot ended the most serious threat. But the price to pay was that their position was revealed. The sound of rapid footsteps rang out as the captain's soldiers rushed in. But before they could go far, they were confronted by Atai. His hands were now out of bullets, but every move was quick and precise. He continuously used everything around him as a weapon, causing the soldiers to fall one by one. Right at this moment, the blonde assassin suddenly appeared. While the two were fighting, the captain locked onto his target without hesitation. After carefully aiming, the captain immediately fired. At this time, the blonde assassin turned back, grabbed the third prince, and quickly retreated. On the other side, the captain was still relentlessly hunting Anna. The only thought in his mind was to send her back to her resting place. Finally, in the pitch-black night, thanks to a rifle with night vision thermal scopes, the captain tracked down Anna and the doctor hiding in an old, dilapidated house. Not only that, but he also guessed that Anna must be out of ammunition. She lit a flare, causing a flash of light that broke the vision of the thermal scopes and burned the house completely. Amidst the smoke, she lifted her hand to her neck, removed the last bullet that was worn as a pendant, and shot the gun. The bullet pierced the air with precision and cut the chain that was imprisoning the third prince. On the other side, the captain finally discovered that Anna's rifle had turned on him, but it was too late. A shot rang out, closing a bloody era between both sides. At the end of the film, they found Atai in the rubble, but he was seriously injured and unconscious. But he was still alive. His mortal wound hadn't claimed the life of the resilient soldier. They helped each other back, but hadn't gone far when the captain's remaining soldiers blocked their way. Then, like a miracle, the last of the loyal royal soldiers appeared, and a series of gunshots rang out like a farewell bell for the traitors. The next morning, the first sunlight shone on the podium where the third prince officially stood before all the people, no longer hesitant, no longer manipulated. He issued his first decree as the heir to the throne. This decree would absolutely prevent any acts of resistance against the state in their country. From here, a new dynasty would be opened with the promise of bringing the people to a life of prosperity, fairness, and justice. What do you think about today's film? If you have any contributions about the film, please leave them in the comments so that my team can improve more. Thank you very much. Now then, goodbye and see you in the next films.